King John, or The Life and Death of King John, is one that's not very familiar. Henry II and Eleanor of Aquitaine, they have 3 sons. The youngest of those 3 sons is John. So King John is basically when he eventually gets to the throne after Richard the Lionheart. It's an earlier play, and it's very simple because the plot is pretty back and forth and pretty straightforward. The French are basically fighting against John, so they meet on a battlefield. They decide to try to marry one of the princesses of France with John's offspring, but then John doesn't want to have to bow down before the church. He's very against the church, like his father Henry II was. The church then gets involved in supporting the French side, so we go back to war after we're almost at peace. And then at the conclusion of the play, we see that John has suddenly gotten sick and passes away, and that his son is going to become the next king. The thing that is really special about the play, and why I think it needs to be done, is the role of Constance. She has a child. This child is a threat to John on the throne, so John has to have this child killed, which involves one of the most difficult staging moments in the play, where that child, trying to save his life, jumps from the top of the castle and dies. That scene between the assassin and the child is really beautiful, because the child finds a way to talk him out of it, and you see him have those doubts, and he lets him go at the end. And you know, it's tricky because you have to have a talented child actor to pull that off. When it works, it's a really great moment, which is what makes it that much more heartbreaking that the child plummets to his death 2 scenes later. Constance's reaction at fearing that her child is dead and then realizing that her child is dead, it's some of the most powerful and heartbreaking text in the canon, and the way Shakespeare is able to viscerally capture the idea of dealing with the loss of a child is very powerful stuff. I think one of the other great challenges to the play is that a lot of the action happens off stage. We incorporated a lot more combat into the show. So as we move from one scene to another, if a battle was to occur between the 2 scenes that we were seeing, in the scene shift we would see some of that fighting out in the aisles and involving the audience, so that they probably felt like they should duck. Adding those pieces sort of really helped elevate the action of the story, to the point where audience members were commenting that they didn't know why people didn't do this play more often, which anytime you're doing one of the more obscure titles, that's the best compliment in the world that you can hear.